Let me ask you something. Have you ever opened your mailbox, seen a stack of papers from Medicare, and just stared at them like, what am I even looking at? Which plan pays for my medicine? What do I choose? What changes in 2026? And why does it feel like every plan has some hidden trick I don't know about? If you've ever had that moment, you're definitely not alone. In fact, the number one thing people tell me every single week is that prescription coverage is the most confusing part of Medicare. And that's exactly why today, we're breaking down Medicare Part D in a way that finally makes sense. So take a deep breath, relax, and give me about 20 minutes, because by the end of this video, you will understand how Part D actually works, what changes in 2026, what to avoid, and how to make the smartest decision for your prescription needs. Comment your name and state below. I'd love to see who's watching and benefiting from these videos. Now let's talk about why Part D even exists. People assume it's part of original Medicare, but it's actually not. When Medicare was first created decades ago, it didn't cover prescription drugs at all. You paid out of pocket. And for a long time, that was just how things were. But as the cost of medications skyrocketed and people began relying on more prescriptions as they aged, Medicare had to catch up. So Medicare Part D was created as a way to give people access to drug coverage, not automatically, not for free, and definitely not all the same. Instead, Part D works through private insurance companies that offer Medicare-approved plans. And this is where things get interesting, because the moment private companies get involved, prices, benefits, and rules start to vary wildly. You can put two plans side by side and one might cost $12 per month while another costs $63 per month, and yet the more expensive one isn't always better. It all depends on your medications. And that's the first big lesson people usually don't realize: Part D is personal. What works for your friend, your neighbor, or even your spouse might not work for you. Your medications, your dosages, your pharmacy choice, all of that creates a unique picture that determines the right plan. Imagine a woman named Susan. She's 68, retired, and on 3 standard medications: a statin for cholesterol, a generic for blood pressure, and something mild for seasonal allergies. These medications are incredibly common, and most Part D plans cover them cheaply. If she picks a low-cost plan, say, $12 a month, she probably gets everything she needs without overspending. But now imagine another person, Mark. He's 73, dealing with diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and chronic pain from years of working a physically demanding job. His prescriptions include insulin and a biologic, medications that are considered specialty-tier drugs. Suddenly, the plan that works for Susan becomes a nightmare for Mark. His costs could skyrocket. His copays could be hundreds of dollars. And his out-of-pocket maximum, well, until recently, it had no cap at all. And that brings us to something extremely important and extremely good. 2026 is the first year where the Medicare Part D annual out-of-pocket limit will be fully enforced and simplified. That means for the first time ever, no one will pay more than a fixed amount per year for their outpatient prescription drugs under Part D. This is huge. For years, seniors struggled under something called the catastrophic phase, where even after spending thousands of dollars, they still had to keep paying 5% of extremely expensive drugs, and that 5% could still be hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the medication. Starting in 2026, that 5% is gone. Instead, once you hit the out-of-pocket limit, your costs drop to zero for the rest of the year. Zero. It's one of the biggest Medicare changes in decades. But before we go deeper into 2026 changes, we need to talk about how Part D actually works today, because if you don't understand the structure, the changes won't make sense. And to explain it clearly, I want you to imagine something as simple as grocery shopping. If you walk into a grocery store and there are no prices on the shelves, everything is confusing. You don't know what you can afford. You don't know which items are better deals. You don't know which brands the store carries. That's how Part D feels for most people, like shopping in a store without price tags. But once you understand the structure, the prices suddenly appear. Part D has 4 stages. The first one is the deductible stage. Not all plans have a deductible, but most do. In 2026, the maximum deductible will be slightly adjusted, but the idea is the same: you pay full cost, or discounted cost depending on the drug, until you meet the deductible. Once the deductible is met, you enter the second stage, called initial coverage. This is where you pay copays or coinsurance for your medications, usually the part most people understand pretty well. Then comes the third stage, the coverage gap, also known as the donut hole, but in recent years, it's been simplified and doesn't feel as punishing as it used to. Finally, there's the catastrophic stage, which, again, starting in 2026 becomes dramatically different because the old unlimited 5% model is gone. Here's where most people get confused: not every drug is treated equally. Plans sort medications into tiers. Tier 1 is usually preferred generics, meaning cheap. Tier 2 is regular generics, also cheap but not quite as cheap. Tier 3 is preferred brand. Tier 4 is non-preferred brand. Tier 5 is specialty, the expensive ones. And here's the catch: companies can decide what drug goes into what tier. Plan A may put your diabetes medication in Tier 3, while Plan B puts it in Tier 2. And that difference could be the difference between paying $450 a month or paying $23. So whenever someone asks, what's the best Part D plan? I always answer the same way: the best plan is the one that covers your drugs at the lowest cost. And that usually means using a plan comparison tool. But the good news is that once you understand these stages, the entire system becomes more predictable. And that predictability is what Medicare has been trying to create with the new 2026 updates. Now, let's talk about something people keep mixing up: Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D in 2026 regarding dental benefits. In 2026, you're going to hear a ton of advertisements bragging that Medicare Advantage plans are adding more dental coverage, more preventive benefits, more routine services, and those ads flow into the same space as Part D ads. But here's what you must understand: Part D only covers prescription drugs, nothing dental, nothing routine vision, nothing preventive dental cleanings. That's all Medicare Advantage. And every year, especially during open enrollment, people accidentally choose the wrong plan because they confuse Advantage commercials with Part D enrollment options. That's why I want you to picture this. A man named Robert is sitting at his dining table in October. He sees a commercial saying, $0 premiums. Free dental. Free hearing. And he thinks it's talking about the Part D drug plan he needs to update. So he calls the number. The person on the phone signs him up for a Medicare Advantage plan he didn't want, and now he's no longer on original Medicare, and he doesn't have a supplement anymore. This happens thousands of times every year, and in 2026, with the added focus on dental, it may happen even more. That's why understanding the difference matters. Medicare Part D equals drug coverage. Medicare Advantage equals a private alternative to Medicare that includes drug coverage. They overlap, but they're not the same. Now let's come back to the heart of Part D, your actual costs. In the script for your other videos, we've talked about real-life scenarios, so let's look at one here. Imagine someone named Linda. She's 70, on insulin and a few generics. For years, she struggled because insulin could cost $200, $300, even $500 a month depending on the plan. Now, with the insulin cap at $35 max per month, her entire financial situation changed. She used to budget for groceries, her electric bill, and then insulin, almost like it was a major household expense on its own. But for the first time, she feels like she's not drowning. When she hit catastrophic coverage before 2026, she still had to pay that 5%. But in 2026, when she hits the limit, she pays nothing. This is life-changing. But let's look at another person, someone on specialty drugs. You'd be shocked how many Americans take medications that cost $1,600, $2,700, even $5,000 plus a month. For people like this, the 2026 out-of-pocket cap is not just helpful, it's the difference between affording treatment or going without. Let's talk about pharmacies for a moment because this is another area where people get tricked without even realizing it. Have you ever noticed that some plans offer preferred pharmacies? That's because plans negotiate lower prices with certain pharmacy chains. It means if you pick up your prescriptions at one pharmacy, your copay might be $4, but at another pharmacy, for the exact same medication, you might pay $16. Same drug, same dose, same quantity, different price. If you've ever felt like your costs don't make sense, this is why. And in 2026, companies will be adjusting these networks again because the cost structure is changing. Now let's talk about enrollment mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming their plan automatically stays good each year. It doesn't. Your plan may change the drugs it covers, the tiers, the premiums, the deductibles, all without you realizing it. In fact, most people have at least one drug change tiers every couple of years. If you stay on the wrong plan, you could be paying hundreds more than you need to. Imagine this, you're paying $28 a month for your plan. Next year, you see it's going up to $47. You think, that's not too bad. But what you don't realize is the plan also moved your medication from Tier 2 to Tier 3. Suddenly your $7 copay becomes $43, and your yearly cost jumps before you even understand what happened. This is why reviewing your plan each fall matters, and why understanding Part D pays off. Now let's tie this together with the emotional side because Medicare isn't just numbers. It's peace of mind. It's knowing that your medication will be available. It's knowing that you won't be choosing between prescriptions and paying the electric bill. It's knowing that you're protected from medical bankruptcy. And as people get older, anything that reduces stress matters. Having predictable costs matters. And that's why these 2026 changes are honestly some of the best updates to Part D in decades. But here's something else most people forget, Part D is optional, but the penalty isn't. If you don't sign up when you're supposed to and you don't have other creditable drug coverage, Medicare adds a penalty that lasts your entire life. Not 1 year. Not 5 years. For the rest of your life. So Part D isn't just a safety net, it's an essential part of your Medicare puzzle. This brings us to a powerful truth, Medicare is complicated, but once you understand the structure, the fear disappears. You begin to see why plans differ, why your costs change, and why choosing wisely matters. You begin to see how Part D is designed not just to help, but to protect. And in 2026, with the new out-of-pocket cap, that protection grows even stronger. So as we end this video, remember this, Part D is not something you should guess on. It's not something you should choose based on a TV commercial or a friend's advice. It's something you choose based on you, your medications, your income, your pharmacy, your needs. And when you choose properly, everything becomes easier. If you're someone who takes multiple medications, or you know someone who struggles every single month trying to pay for prescriptions, share this video with them. Because the truth is, most people don't know how Part D works. And understanding it could literally save them thousands of dollars. And if you want me to break down your medication list on video, or you want a script about choosing the best Part D plan for 2026, or you want a breakdown of the new out-of-pocket cap rules, just tell me, I'll make it. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace of mind. And you deserve a Medicare experience that doesn't leave you confused or overwhelmed. And that's exactly why we make these videos.